The time is now 7 o'clock and we'll recall to open session. Jackie, roll call.
Kristen Bailey. Here. Nick Allen.
Here.
Steve Byers.
Here.
Jose Jerquez.
Here.
Christopher Boyce.
Here.
Mark Shervat.
Here.
Dante Bynum. Here. Rodriguez. Here.
All right. And we'll now do the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. We'll now move into public comment. Members of the public who wish to speak to the board shall complete a request card prior to the start of the meeting. This section of the meeting will be reserved for comments from the public. All comments should be limited to 3 minutes. All righty. We'll start with Brent McIntosh to talk about middle school class size.
Dear members of the school board, I'm a teacher and parent of DeKalb School District. I have spent 28 years in the classroom, all within the DeKalb School District, and who has taught both at the elementary and middle school levels. Additionally, 3 of my children have gone through our school district, with number 4 now a sophomore. First, thank you for your decision to support the construction of Mitchell Elementary. That decision to lower elementary class sizes is a massive step forward, and we know firsthand that those lower numbers will immediately and profoundly enhance the teaching and learning our youngest students and their teachers deserve. Now we urgently ask you for your support in addressing the reality of our middle school class sizes. The next critical step is to find a much-needed new home for the ELDC and allow those 10 classrooms at Huntley Middle School to be repurposed back into middle school classrooms. This is the tangible solution we need to finally meet our class size goal of 30 at the middle school level. At CRMS for the past 6 years, we have operated at maximum capacity. We have had to overflow our 6th grade students to HMS for 5 consecutive years now, and this year our 7th and 8th grades have only a few seats left before they too hit capacity and face overflow. Our current class averages hover between 32 and 35 students per classroom. This is where the physical space translates directly into student opportunity. Our current classroom capacity is 35 students. The potential of utilizing those 10 available classrooms at HMS would be a game changer for every single middle school teacher and student in our district. This move allows you to fulfill a necessary commitment to lower our middle school class size cap to 30 students. A class size of 30 allows for effective differentiation, group work, more one-on-one support, and an improved ability to meet the complex social and emotional needs of our students. This decision is more about just managing overflow. It is about providing the optimal learning environment that benefits our students' well-being and overall educational experience. Please put the best interests of our students and staff at the forefront by continuing to commit to the 30 student cap through the utilization of the HMS classrooms. Thank you again for your vision and your commitment. We look forward to your support in making this essential change happen. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. McIntyre, I'm sorry, may I please have that statement? May I have that? Thank you. I just want to make sure that I keep notes on what it is that you said. Thank you so much.
No problem.
Ben Erickson, impact of class size in an elementary school.
We're like twins.
The same Barbara. Good evening, school board. My name is Ben Erickson, and I'm the assistant principal at Lincoln Elementary. I want to thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak tonight regarding my perspective of smaller class sizes during this evening's board meeting. While in grad school for educational leadership, I was able to research the impact of smaller class sizes, as this was a topic that I took particular interest in. The research shows that smaller class sizes really do help move the needle in almost every important category. Improved academic outcomes for students, more personalized instruction, improved student engagement and participation, increased graduation rates, positive social and emotional development for students. I was very glad that our district made the important decision to decrease class sizes for elementary schools in District 428 by the opening of Dr. Leroy A. Mitchell Elementary School. So far, the research really has matched my experience at Lincoln when visiting classrooms this school year. I've noticed teachers working with smaller small groups or spending more time with fewer groups. This has led to an increase in early intervention for academic areas and an increase in SEL supports for students since teachers have been able to spend more time with fewer students in their classes. Students don't feel lost in the crowd, which has led to more participation in class discussions and activities. I have noticed that there's more space for students to spread out since there's fewer desks and fewer students in each room. As a result, small classroom distractions can be handled easier because students don't feel like they're packed in right next to each other. Those issues may have previously turned into bigger issues with a class size of 28. Our resources are not as spread as thin as they have been in previous years, which has led to an increased morale from the staff as well. I understand that there can still be a wide variety of experiences with a class size of 25 or even fewer, but I firmly believe that the decision to reduce class size at the elementary level will continue to make a positive long-term impact. I want to thank the board, past and present, for their dedication to this worthy endeavor of reducing class sizes in District 428. I look forward to seeing the work continue as this board discusses plans to address an increase in early learning opportunities for our community and a decrease in class size at the middle school level. Thank you.
Thank you.
You guys did a lot of my research on this.
Catherine Norris, ELDC building.
We need more space for our early childhood students. We need more space for our middle school students. I know it, and I would like to believe that you know it too. Recently, it was also known that we needed more space for our elementary school students. The school board, correctly and within their rights, saw fit to resolve this need by building Mitchell Elementary. Since then, apparently, we've received pushback from the community for building Mitchell without a referendum. And now it seems you think offering the community a referendum for a new preschool building to vote on will somehow rectify that pushback. What does pushback from the community even mean? During the 2024 election cycle, 4 of you were voted into your positions. DeKalb has a population of approximately 40,000 people. On the high end, some of you received over 2,000 votes. On the low end, less than 200. That ranges from 5% to less than 1% of the community voting you into this position. Now, while I don't understand, I do respect and appreciate the amount of effort and work that goes into running for and being elected into a position. I must ask though, don't you think it might take the same amount of effort or even more to educate the community so they can make an informed decision? The last time we had a referendum, it was during a presidential election, which notoriously brings more people out to vote. Even then, less than 25% of the population voted on that referendum. If during a presidential election, we were still only getting less than 25% of the population to vote on a referendum, how do you plan to make this time different? After all, you want community feedback and involvement. After hearing from staff and community members for several months now about this need for more space for middle school students, more space for early childhood students, you continue to say you want community feedback and involvement. How do you plan to inform and motivate the community to educate themselves and vote on this referendum so that you can get an appropriate level of community feedback? Approximately 5 times or more than you did previously just to be elected into your position. Unless, of course, it's only a specific section of the community that you want to hear input from. For a group of people claiming, per their own website, their mission is to provide an equitable and inclusive education that supports students holistically,
Thank
providing...
you, Ms. Norris, you're at time.
Excuse me. Can I-
Yep.
Liz Welter, class size difference.
Hello, my name is Liz Welter. I'm a fourth grade teacher at Lincoln Elementary. I'm just touching on key points on the class size difference from when the cap went from 28 now to 25 in elementary schools. Last year, I had 27 students for the majority of the school year. I greatly appreciate the decision to decrease the class sizes for these reasons. There is now room in my class to move and have more opportunities for group work for my students. I now have room for a rug in my room to allow for more transitions from their desks to the floor. I have room for daily SEL morning meetings, allowing students to sit in a circle and be able to share what's going on throughout the day. I also have the ability to check in with each student daily rather than monthly or when needed for problem solving. Thank you.
Thank you.
You don't have to rip it out.
No, it's fine. I'm a little old school, sorry.
Sarah Mack, ELDC building.
Hi there. I am speaking on behalf of the staff and most importantly as a voice of the students at the ELDC. We are disappointed to hear that the goal of the school board is to take the proposal for a new ELDC building to referendum. We 100% believe community conversations should happen about why we need a new center, and we 100% believe in educating the community on the importance and the urgency of building a new center and how that benefits them as a whole. But that can all be done without a referendum. There is evidence from ISB stating that DeKalb is a desert area and in need of more pre-K, and therefore needs no referendum to be built. There is evidence from our Preschool for All state monitoring visits that show a lack of appropriate space for pre-K learners. There is evidence that funds are available and it will have no financial impact on the taxpayers. There is evidence that the middle school will need that space in 2 years. There is evidence from the staff who work day in and day out at the ELDC telling you the space is not working anymore with the growing needs of our community. Evidence to back up any communication with the community to justify why we can, and most importantly, why we should make this decision without a referendum. You committed as a board to tackle the issue of class size across the district. And what happens if it goes to a referendum and the community says no? Because to be honest, no matter how much you tell them it won't affect taxes, in the back of their minds, they will associate the word referendum with raising taxes. And are you okay with taking that 50-50 chance of it not passing and how it will impact the lives of all the students you took an oath to help? Are you okay with the negative impact it will have on all students in our district and the community as a whole? And are you okay with setting the next board up for failure? So they have to clean up the mess and maybe spend more money in the process to get things done way past the current needs of D428, all because we're ignoring the evidence in front of you. It's time for you to trust that evidence presented by the state, by D428 staff and administration. The needs of our youngest learners and our middle school learners aren't going away. And we don't know if you just don't understand that or if you don't care. We are asking you to dig deep and think about what side of D428 history you want to be on. Do you want to be remembered as the board that dismissed the glaring needs of the students and community, or do you want to be remembered as the board who took action because it was the right thing to do for our students and the growth of D428? Because we are one Barb, and it starts here. Thank you.
Thank you. And next, we move into board correspondence. Does anyone have any correspondence for the board? So I guess I'll just quickly say we had our annual self-evaluation with the Illinois Association of School Boards yesterday. I personally feel it was a very productive conversation that we as a board were able to have, where we could really, I feel like, maybe start to figure out some policies and procedures that we're looking forward to do together as a group with Dr. Garcia Sanchez, and I feel it was very collaborative and helpful, so.
I had an opportunity to stop by Mitchell at release. Sorry, I'm putting away my charger. And I experienced very friendly staff who, I forgot to bring this, but they still identified me. And it looked very organized in getting them out of the building. The traffic on Normal is something that I do want to see if there's something we could discuss, because it was backed up pretty far, and it's not just us, it's not anything Mitchell's doing, it's the nature of the beast of having that many cars show up at the same time. But I think it was, from an organizational standpoint, it seemed like they were doing a really good job considering they're 6 weeks old.
I went, visited Clinton Rosette Middle School the other day. It was a lot of fun to be there. It's a great school. Everything was going pretty good. The kids in the recess area outside were having a good time. I also went to the high school where I was forced, I would say, to try the food from our vendors. It was actually quite delicious. So, well done. I think that's a good partnership, at least at DHS. The food was very good. I couldn't eat as much as they wanted me to because that would have been bad. But yes, that was fun. I was wondering, are we gonna get a public update on our process with everything in the ELDC at some point in one of these board meetings?
Second.
So my understanding is we are currently working on, if I'm not mistaken, we should be soon going through the process of allocating a part of our budget to be directed towards funding for ELDC. Now, once that occurs, that's just earmarking funds in the budget. Then we as a board are still going to have to decide how we take the ball and run with it from there. So that's really, we can start the conversations towards the end of this meeting for what we want to see at the next meeting. If we want to start that discussion, it's up to you guys. I think a lot of it has been kind of waiting to see how tax levy goes, so then we know exactly what we're working with. But I know that everyone, especially within the Ed Center, is working on getting everything ready for that, so.
Okay, thank you.
Does anyone else have anything else? Maria, student board correspondence.
Yes, so the mini board had their student exchange with Genoa last week. We went to Genoa on Monday and we got to walk around and go to their classes and see their school. Block schedules are certainly something. No, it was really, really fun, and we really got to see some of the things they do to hype up their students, and we really liked a lot of their things. And they came to DeKalb and they saw DeKalb, and they really liked DeKalb and some of the classes we offer, and so we're just gonna meet sometime and come together and be like, hey, what were some things that we really liked about Genoa and some things you guys really liked about DeKalb, and just talk about all that and hopefully get some projects started because of that. Also, the mini board's working on a lot of like really, really big projects, and I'm very excited for you guys to see those. Happy Breast Cancer Awareness Month. That's it.
Yeah.
I'm really curious. Can you just give me a teaser about something that you're thinking we might be interested in doing here?
We're working on a parking lot renovation. So we're coming up with floor plans on how to renovate the DeKalb High School parking lot. Some cheaper options, some a little bit more expensive, some things just to make the flow of traffic and all that easier in the DeKalb High School for pickup and drop off, safer for students who are walking home, people who are going to Mitchell, all that sort of thing. We have a lot of things already prepared. I just need to meet with people.
I can see that Tammy and Matt are all aglow with Thank you.
Oops.
Right. Moving into the consent agenda. It is recommended the Board of Education approve the consent agenda items 5B through 5F, board minutes from the September 16th meeting, personnel action items, purchase order requisitions, bilingual staff recruitment, Spirit Cultural Exchange Program, host school agreement renewal, ISBE visiting international host, district intergovernment agreement renewal, as presented. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Do I have a second? All right.
Quick comment,
Yes.
and I don't need anything removed. I did have a question about item E, the bilingual staff recruitment, Spirit Cultural Exchange. Looking at the agreement that is attached, it says fiscal impact on the main summary is NA, but I see on the final page of the document, it shows a number of fees, none of which are checked off. Can I get an idea of what the cost is, or what, I know this is a renewal, so what was it before and what is it now, do we expect?
So those check boxes on the final page of the agreement
Yeah.
are ones that the district would be telling Spirit that we are committing ourselves to paying. We are not committing to those. Those are ones that will be the responsibility of the candidate. The only thing that, I did talk to Spirit about it, there is one listed $3,000 recruitment assistance fee. I actually advised them that that should not be there because that is a fee that they are going to start imposing on all districts for Spanish-speaking bilingual staff members. But other than that, none of those boxes are checked and we are not covering those
Okay,
expenses.
that's what I wanted to check on, thank you.
Yep.
All right. Any other questions? Hearing no other questions, Jackie, roll call.
Nick Edelman,
Yes.
Steve Byers,
Yes.
Leslie Jetquez,
Yes.
Christopher Boyce,
Yes.
Mark Scharbett,
Yes.
Dante Bynum,
Yes.
Kristen Bailey.
Yes.
All right. Moving on to the next section, we've got presentations. We will have our tax levy information presented by Director of
Business and Finance, yes. All right, well, so, yeah, it is tax levy season. We're gonna start our levy process, so, before we actually get into the nuts and bolts of the tax levy, we always bring forward a little bit of presentation, get the basics, get some information on how we move forward. Remember that the property taxes is actually the largest share of the revenue to the district. We were getting towards where the federal and the state was getting more than half of the revenue coming to a district. However, with the things that are happening now in DC and in Springfield, we're seeing that the importance of our property taxes is kind of jumping back. That is not the situation we wanted. That was not the trajectory that we're going into, but that's what's coming up. And we just finished the budget, approved the budget for this year, and the next cycle for the budget for the following year is actually the tax levy. So what you adopt in December for the tax levy will be used for the budget of the following year. So that's what makes this a very important decision-making, and that's why we need all the information we can from it. So the next, all right, so we can start first with the timeline of the tax levy. So what we're doing right now, all these tax agencies, we have about 9 taxing agencies in DeKalb. This includes our library district, our park district, the city, the county, Kish Water Reclamation, Kish College and the Water Reclamation, and of course the school district. We all go to the county, we look at the appraisal, we look at their assessment of all the properties. So we look into it and we see what the county has prepared for the tax base that we are going to rely on to get the tax levy calculation. So we're very early in that assessment cycle, so the county is still gathering value. They presented one in September 17, but we keep calling the county, asking for information, asking for updates. And that's where the relationship with the county is important, because that assessment keeps being refreshed, the numbers that keep coming in. So even when we adopt in December, that assessment value is really not the final value, and that's why the tax rates, maybe even the tax amount, doesn't get finalized until actually in March. So we get the final numbers in March, because between January and March, we get a lot of tax objection. So at that time, those numbers, the numbers that we are showing might continually change. So what are the 3 items that we really need for our levy calculations? You will hear this a lot, we talk about it a lot, it's called the EAV. That is your taxable value. That is a third of the market value of your property. So if you have a property that is about $300,000, the taxes are actually collected out of a third of it, right? So, and that is one way you can think of EAV. The other part that we need for our calculation is the CPI, the Consumer Price Index. We always use the more stable and the number from December of the previous year, because that's what the county will establish as the CPI for that year. The other part we need is new construction. That is important because these new construction are coming into the tax rolls and we need to capture it, right? Those are areas that the law kind of allows us to use for our tax levy. Now, there has been instances where some taxing agencies miss out on this new construction. And we had that here in DeKalb happening. And if you don't capture that new construction, you lose out on it forever. So that's the importance of calculating the levy correctly, following up on what's new construction, and using that for the tax rate. So what are we going to see in the next months? In November, we will come in, we'll bring a few options. We will look at what we need to run our schools and the amount of money or the levy amount that we would be recommending. So you will have a few scenarios at that time, and we will need that, the established, or at least some recommended number from the board so that we can post it in the newspaper. And we need about 20 days for the public to kind of review it. And it's part of these are all procedural, part of all the process and the laws guiding the tax levy. So once that is out publicly, we come back and we adopt it in December. We really have until the last Tuesday of December to submit this to the county. So we really need to adopt this by December. At that point, I'm still in contact with the county and I'm asking them the latest numbers of the assessment. And then we establish that tax levy amount at that point. The rate will always change. Like I said, we will probably be seeing about 3 numbers throughout this whole process. We're gonna see one in December, what the board will adopt. And then come March, looking at all the objections, the board of assessments, that number will change and the county will come back and say, all right, this is as much as you're allowed, or this is your rate for this year. So after March, there's also a collection. The tax bills comes to the property owners between May through November. They have 2 installments at that point. So that's when the tax bills are collected. Even at that point, there's a 1% loss that we establish that of uncollectible taxes. So that's why I say there's 3 numbers throughout the process that we look at. So again, tax rates really are finalized come March and April. Any question on that process? I wanted to give a kind of a historical view of what's been happening in DeKalb and how the footprint or what areas, categories are bringing in the most revenue to the district. So back in 2020, you can see that I have a gray area of percentage in there. The residential or the homeowners were really contributing about 56% tax revenue to the district. And at that time, the industrial section was really in its infancy in DeKalb, so it was really contributing about 8%. Now, if you move forward, in 2025, you're seeing that the homeowners, we have expanded. We moved from about $450 million to about $728 million worth of property value. But that contribution to the district revenues has shrunk to 36%. So you can see the jump where the businesses and industrial sector is picking up more of the tax collections to the district. And that footprint is growing, and it will, and from the projections, it will continue to grow. And the property owners, homeowners will be contributing less and less share revenues to the district So it's a great success story. I mean, this is what we want to see. We want the homeowners contributing less to the revenue and having the businesses and the industrial sector to start picking that up, right? So as you're seeing, the biggest jump is being from in the industrial side from 8% and jumped all the way to 42%. This is nothing new for everyone. You guys have seen the E-Zone, the South Corridor, Meta, Facebook, Ferrara, Amazon, and many others. And we're looking at about 60% is being picked up by the industrial and the commercial side. This is great news on that end. All right. So. On the next slide, we want to talk about the role of consumer price index, right? We said there was 3 factors, so this is the second one. So the CPI is very important. So when we adopt a tax levy amount, we don't establish a tax rate, we're really constricted as a school district. Maybe other taxing agencies may not be part of this law, but definitely the school district is. What the state law allows us is to only pick up inflationary increases, which would be the CPI. Now, for those of you who run or operations or ask for POs and get some contracts for your school, we almost never match the CPI that's been established from December 24 in this case. We're seeing increases from tariffs to many other reasons of cost of doing the business. But at this point, by property tax value, we can only pick up the inflationary increase that is adopted by the federal government, which is for this year would be 2.9. Again, it is on the lower end. Here's a little bit of historical perspective on the CPI. We're supposed to be at 2%, which is that red line there, the red line, but our CPI has been zigzagging all across the board there from as low as 0.1 to 7 just a few years ago. So we have, because the CPI, this law only allows us to pick up what CPI is or 5%, whichever is less. So in this case, we are less than 5%, so we have to have an inflationary increase of 2.9, knowing also that our cost has been increasing. All right, any question on this? All right. The district has done its due diligence. We have lowered our levy over 6 years, but presented here is about 4 years. This is a kind of a nice snapshot of what the school district is compared to other school districts across the county or with school districts that have boundaries in DeKalb County. So as you see, all of those bolded are school districts that are actually having a way that have higher tax rate than what this District 428 has. So we had the most dramatic decrease in tax rates. So from 22, if you look all the way to the right, we were at 6.8, and just previous year was 4.8. So this came in with utilizing every option that was on our table, from taking from the new construction, utilizing property tax relief grants, abating bonds, which is the bond for our referendum bonds for our high school and Cortland and other, where we issued debt to pay for them. And through a referendum, it was being picked up by a tax levy, but what we did is we discounted that to provide some form of relief. So through a combination of abatements, property tax relief, and under levies, this came in as, and now this came in with a dramatic decrease into our tax rate, and now we're really lower than almost and we're the biggest district in the county, but we have the lowest tax rate from a number of county school districts. So that's important to note. This is for those of you who have home ownership in the district, and especially if you had it since all the way to 2018. This is a kind of a nice snapshot of what you've been paying throughout the years, right? Remember, EAV is a third of your market value of your home, right? So let's say you came in 2018, bought a $270,000 home, a third of it is 97. That would be column 2. The equalization factor indicates the increase in market value of your home. So every year, the county provides an equalized factor for all the properties in the city of DeKalb to utilize it for the calculation of the levy, right? So some of you might have seen that in your tax bills. Your tax bill was lower or your home value was lower than the neighbor next door. So that always happens, but that's where the equalization factor will kind of short all of those changes under one number. So when your market value of your home went up to 3.51%, back in 2019, you had a $101,000 home EAV, right? That's a third of your market value. And you get a homestead exemption, which is your primary residence exemption. That is actually pretty generous for the county. Each county has its own. So you don't, right there you get a taxpayer relief, right? You get the $6,000 homestead exemption. From there you get the final taxable base for you from your home. And you multiply that with the school rate, the tax rate from the school, and that's how you get your taxes, which is your last column. If you notice, between 2019 to 2024, every year your home has been growing in value, right? And DeKalb is probably one of those that has seen some very dramatic increases in property value. It doesn't seem like it's going down any further. I mean, even this year, we're looking at about 9.51 increase in market value for your homes. So in 2024, your home, which had an EAV of 101,000, it jumped 43% to 143,000. But take a look at to the right. In 2024, you have paid way less than back when your home was 40% less. And this is all the efforts of the school districts throughout the year to provide the taxpayer relief for. And again, we cannot stress enough that this did come with sacrifice through abatements under levies and also utilizing any type of forms. So,
Quick note.
Sure,
As
sure.
far as the equalization factors, this is strictly DeKalb Township numbers.
City of DeKalb.
The city of DeKalb.
Correct.
DeKalb Township within the city of DeKalb, because Afton Township, they've had lower equalization factors. They've saved a lot more money, so lucky them. But if you live in Cortland or Malta, your figures may be different. So
Correct,
just
yes,
the
so
public
yeah,
knows.
actually our school district covers about 7 townships, but the one that I'm presenting here is City of DeKalb because that's just simply the largest share of where our properties reside. All right. And this year, seeing what's happening at the federal and state level, we will have operational cost impacts. So as we make that decision for our tax levy calculations, we have to think about how to keep running our schools, knowing of all of these things that we don't have control over, all of these costs that have been affecting us and that came up this year. The transportation is a major one where the state is starting prorating. We're seeing symptoms from the state that starts to kind of a shift from those obligations, looking to prorating. We're looking at insurance renewal rate. That came in as a surprise for us. And we had a renewal of 3 collective bargaining unit agreements that were effective as of July 1. That's about 400 staff members that got a good standard of a living increase, in a sense, which really contributes back to the economy, if you want to think of it, back to the local economy. But we had about 400 members getting a renewed collective bargaining unit. We have state, federal government also kind of not picking up their obligations when it comes to funding, such as Medicaid, EBF tiers, and also in our own budget, we had to defer a few sources of funds. We had to defer them so we could have a balanced budget. And remember, long term, we're also looking at ELDC and any other renovations that we are needed facility-wise. So why do I bring this up? We have provided many forms of savings and tax relief to property owners. We are not seeing a significant new construction coming in. Now, this year, we're not seeing it, but projected that in the future, we might see Kraft Heinz come into place, ComEd substation, the Marriott hotels, something that's happening between Fairview and Peace Road. So I think future, we will see maybe a significant new construction, but because this year it's just been, there's nothing significant, it becomes a challenge for us to provide that level of relief that we may have afforded previously. So it is a very tough year this year, and we are presented with a lot of significant challenges. But again, in the long term, we might see something better. One thing that when we do this tax levy, we have to remember that under levy should not be an option because that it does not allow us to future recoup our revenues. It deprives the district from revenues for each year in the future, and it also deprives the future board members to make decisions on these tax levies. So kind of trust the experts. We do have other ways to provide taxpayer relief that are not as long-term. So I'm kind of closing it with that, but please, if you have any questions, let me know. Yeah.
A quick one, and I know every year, I've followed this many years before I was on the board, that come November, December, 3 to 4 options like on screen number 3 are given to the board to look at. I certainly hope, at least from my perspective, that once again, we will at least have an option or two that will hold the taxpayer harmless. And clear definition terms means you would pay the same amount on your property taxes. For those watching, obviously, for those who don't know, 60% of your property taxes you pay are to the district. So I hope to see an option brought forward that does hold the taxpayer harmless, and that's my particular position on this right now, so. And I know we have challenges, but I want to see at least that option be brought to the board.
Yeah, the only thing I would want to bring up, remember that your market value of your homes has been steadily increasing at about maybe 30 to 40% throughout these years, and the taxes being paid, let's say compared to 2019, are kind of even less than back in 2019. So you have to take in consideration that the tax base is growing as well when your market value of your home grows. So.
Right, but we did see a reduction, we saw an increase from 22 to 23, and it was brought down a little bit last year, so I'm just pointing out that it hasn't been in a straight line down, it's been trending downward overall, which is good, but if we can try to at least have an option to hold the taxpayer harmless, I'm looking for that.
Yeah, and just explaining that,
Sure.
at that point, we did have tax relief grants from the state,
Sure.
so we try to explore every level of short-term relief forms in a sense that doesn't hit the revenue of the district permanently. So, at that time, we did have it, and this year, we just, the state froze providing that relief grant.
So Amir, you mentioned the term under levy. You mean lowering the tax rate, right?
That is different. So an under levy is an actual permanent, a permanent decrease affecting future revenue and freezing the future board from making decisions. So there's under levy, there's abatements, and there's other forms of relief. So an under levy is actually not only not taking what's allowed for you, but going further into hitting the permanent reduction.
Okay, thank you.
And we did abatements last year, right? Because when we levy for a certain amount, that is our levy amount that we could use the 2.9% on. So we set the ceiling higher, and then we abated the amount to go below that, correct?
Correct.
All right.
Correct.
So I guess just a question for me, since CPI was only 2.9% this last go around, I know one of the, I don't know if I wanna call it benefits, but one of the things we were working with before is, we had a year where CPI was 7%.
Yeah.
So we actually had the full ceiling that we could use.
Correct.
So, we had more wiggle room to decide. With a CPI of 2.9, do we even really have much wiggle room, or is it pretty much a, hey, this is what you can take,
Sure.
to pay the bills, we gotta take it?
Yeah, and that's what the state law, so whenever we bring that PTEL, unfortunately, we are one of the taxing agencies that we are constricted by this law. And that law does only give you the inflationary increase and the new construction. Well, this year we don't have a significant new construction, so we have to pick up at least the inflationary increase.
So just based on cause my personal feelings at this point is we haven't had that new construction, so I guess my goal isn't to say, hey, people's tax bills aren't going up this year. I'm just gonna be realistic. I just don't think that's gonna be reasonable with the increases we're getting hit with, that I don't know that we'll be able to do that. My question is, based on just what you know now, and I know we don't have final numbers yet, do you feel that we'll be able to keep the tax rate around where it is?
So we will provide an option that keeps the tax rate the same. I believe that every taxing agency will have that issue as well because of the no-new significant construction coming in. But because of all the challenges that we have, we want to keep it. So that's why this table is kind of important. We want to keep it where we're either 4.8 to some very fair range. So, but we will provide that option.
Thank you.
And I just want to be clear, when we say we're going to keep the tax rate the same, with that multiplier you indicated of 9.51%, which is, so if that rate stays the same, everybody's taxes increase approximately about 9.51% to the school district, approximately.
Yeah, so there's a difference between tax rate and tax amount,
Right.
which
So
is
by
what you're
by
referring
using that terminology, and I've been critical of that in the past, that we're gonna hold the tax rate the same, with the multiplier increasing by 9.5%, that's something to keep in mind. So you have to factor both of those things in, so.
Anyone else have any other questions for Amir?
I'm sorry, Amir, could you just share with us how much we've actually abated in the last 5 years in total?
Sure. And I think if I focus only on the debt levy, so the debt levy is what the voters requested when the high school was built back in 2011. That was picking up the debt for the high school, Cortland, and other renovations. That every year we have been using, for the past 6 years, we've been using a form of property tax relief grants and a form of our own abatements. So we're looking at $43 million, about 30 million we've been using either through a combination of abatements, and 13 million has been picked up by the taxpayers. So really, the payments for the debt for the high school that was voted on to be paid by the taxpayers, we have actually tried to look for abatements of it, and the taxpayers have only picked up about 25% of it, or $1 out of $4 of it.
All right. Hearing no other questions or comments, thank you, Amir.
Thank you.
And the next thing that we'll move into is old business. Next thing will be solar energy project. These are the RFP results that we got in. It is recommended the Board of Education approve administration to contract with Sun Peak Power Holdings for solar panel installation projects. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Jackie, roll call.
Steve Byers,
Yes.
Jose Jones,
Yes.
Christopher Boyd,
Yes.
Mark Servet,
Yes.
Andrew Bynum,
Yes.
Kristen Bailey,
Yes.
Nick Edelman.
Yes.
All right, and item B, temporary facilities reports, Cortland, Jefferson, Lincoln, and Littlejohn. It is recommended the Board of Education approve the temporary facility applications for Cortland, Jefferson, Lincoln, and Littlejohn. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Jackie, roll call.
Jose Jones,
Yes.
Christopher Boyd,
Yes.
Mark Servet,
Yes.
Andrew Bynum,
Yes.
Kristen Bailey,
Yes.
Nick Edelman,
Yes.
Steve Byers.
Yes.
All right, now we'll be moving into new business. Item A, 10-year life safety report brought to us by Director Tammy Carson.
Thank you. As I'm coming forth tonight, I am presenting the 10-year life safety reports. What those reports are, it is required for all Illinois schools that every 10 years, our buildings are inspected by our district architect, and then any violations are noted, and then they are sorted by category A or B, priority A and B. That gives us a timeline for what we need to improve on those buildings. A, have to be done within a year, B, have to be done within 5 years. So the reports are in front of us. We do, just for reference, our average age of our buildings is 42 years old, with our oldest building being Founders, which was started in 1953. So that is our oldest. We have 4 of them that were built in the 50s, 2 in the 60s, and 3 in the 70s. So as you can imagine, buildings of that age and the size that we're dealing with and the amount of use of them, there are things that do get addressed consistently, and then there will always be some violations that are noted. This is in addition to our Regional Office of Education inspections that are also done annually, which we work on correcting those on an annual basis. I did ask Scott Johnson, our district architect, to come and just briefly go over the 10-year life safety reports so you know what they entail, and also just his role in this and how it impacts our next 5 years.
Thanks, Tammy. So yes, as Tammy mentioned, every 10 years, an architect needs to go through each of the schools. The main objective is to look for violations of code and look for safety features. That's the main draw. The 10-year update includes a few different things. One, the first part of a 10-year update is existing condition report. The state of Illinois tells us exactly what we need to look at when we look at the buildings, and we then give that information back into a form to the district. So it's things like, what's the square footage of the building, what type of water services to the building, what kind of mechanical systems. So it's about a 5 or 6 page document for each school. The second part, which I believe is the most important, is the violation section. So each school will have a list of violations, how to correct those, and estimated dollar amounts to correct those violations. The third part is drawings, and it includes a site plan and the floor plans for each school building. So that encompasses the complete 10-year update. With your buildings, you guys do a great job of maintaining your buildings. I think out of, what do you have, 10, 12 buildings? How many are there total? 15 buildings. Wow, I walk a lot of buildings. The amount of items, violations is really low. I mean, I've done school districts where they'll have like 1 school or 2 schools, and there's like 80 items per school. I think the most we have is 10, 12 on one of the schools. Some have, a couple schools have no items. So you guys do a great job, and none of them are really big ticket items. There's a lot of smaller type items. I'll just comment on a couple common ones that happen. So 10 years ago, when the walkthrough was done, the state and the ROE have changed a couple things that they require us to cite. They were always code issues back 10 years ago even, but they said, for instance, like classrooms need to have door closures on them, meaning the doors are always in a shut position. In the past, they said, well, teachers are gonna put wood wedges or they'll put something in there to keep them open, so don't enforce that. But they are now enforcing that. So that's one item that's probably on every school. The other item that's come up from the fire marshal when they do their walkthroughs is a lot of the smoke doors and some fire doors, they need to actually physically latch. So in a fire, you've got a lot of wind conditions, could blow those doors open and help spread that fire. So they're cracking down on making sure we cite that those doors need to latch. Those are some common ones that are in each school. And then each school has some odds and ends of other items, violations, but nothing major. All in all, just a great report for the 10-year updates.
And thank you, Tammy and the team.
Nice work.
Tammy, it was mentioned that we do a great job of maintaining our buildings, and I know I've seen that action at work. Did you separate like the fiscal impact of $696,000 over 5 years? Does that take out the stuff that you would normally be replacing and updating already, or is that just kind of like their estimate, this is how much it's gonna cost? So it actually may not increase the cost of the district to fix these, because they, eventually over the next 5 years, they probably would have been fixed anyway.
There's a portion of that that is included in it, but as Scott mentioned, because some of these things being like the door closers and the fact that certain fire doors didn't close and latch properly, those may not have hit our list in that plan. One significant dollar amount that's on there is, that was not on our plan, is replacing the stucco on Clinton Rosette Middle School, which is the exterior of the school. That's $300,000. So that was not initially on the plan, but now that it is, it will need to be done in the next 5 years. So I will be looking to revise our 5-year project plan to make sure that these items are reflected, especially the bigger ticket items. One thing to note in the report is a lot of these are smaller items that our maintenance staff have the skills to be able to handle on their own. So the quote that, or the estimate that is in here could potentially be at a higher dollar amount than it will actually come in at, because our staff has the abilities to do it without hiring an outside company. That includes at the bottom of each report, Scott references a contingency and architect and engineering costs. If we're handling it in-house, those costs do not apply. It is the cost of our labor for our staff and then the materials. So we will see some of the cost less, is my hope, but also costs are going up for everything we're buying, so projecting out 5 years is challenging.
Thank you.
Any other questions? All right, do we have consensus to bring this back?
Yes.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Next item is B, National Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association National Conference.
Say that again?
It's a long one.
Say no.
Okay, just making sure it's on. Good evening, everyone. I'm really short. Hold on, I'll just put it closer. Okay, athletic director, Peter Goff is not here tonight. He's in McHenry, our girls flag football team, qualified to the next level for regionals, so he's supporting them. So exciting news there. Peter Goff is asking to be in attendance for the as the Illinois Athletic Director Association for the IADA. He's asking to go to the National Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association National Conference. So that'll take place in Tampa, Florida, December 11th to the 15th, or to the 14th, my apologies. And the total cost of the conference is $2,135.71. It will be taken out of the athletic travel budget. So he's requesting for that, and that is an information item. Anybody have any questions? Okay.
Hearing no questions, do we have consensus to bring this back?
Yes.
All right, DHS Student Council NCD Winter Retreat. Also, I'm assuming presented by Dr. Larson.
We have a lot of
and some
items tonight.
Students from the high school.
We do have some students that are here that were patiently waiting. Ladies?
I'm doing D, she's doing C, but we're just together for more support.
Okay, so my name is Ivana Ortiz, and I'm part of the DeKalb High School's Student Council. And what we are asking is that we have an overnight trip at Great Wolf Lodge in Gurnee. It's for our North Central District winter retreat. So we're requesting that. We have members who are part of the NCD board, like Kumaya and Maria, and we will engage in activities to learn about leadership, communication, collaboration with other schools, and networking. So the activities will probably include learning about leadership, about improving our own skills so that we get ideas from other schools to bring back to our council. We'll be expected to pay only $50, and then student council will cover the rest, which is $100. which will be for hotel, food, and any other activities that we do. All three of our advisors will be attending the event, and we'll be taking 2 minibuses to and from the event. We'll leave DHS on Thursday, December 4th, and then return that Friday, December 5th. So yeah, that's it.
Are there any questions? Do I have consensus to bring this back?
Yes.
All right. And then item D, Student Council IASC State Convention overnight trip request.
Hello, my name is Kumari Calvin. I'm also on the DHS Student Council Board. So we're requesting an overnight stay at the IASC State Convention. And IASC stands for the Illinois Association of Student Councils. So that's basically where we go and we are collaborating with other Illinois student councils. We are actually graded and rewarded for all of the things that we do as a council. And we're also able to collaborate and get ideas from new schools and try to find better ways to further our council. Also this year we have a member from our board, I think, who is planning to run for the state board. Not Maria. I was just looking at her for confirmation. I don't know how right that is, but I'm pretty sure that we do. Yeah, Cameron Moore, if you guys know him. He's planning to run, so for him to run, it would require for us to actually go. But I've been to the state convention. This would be my 3rd year. Overall, I think it's a pretty amazing experience. You get to see literally hundreds of different peoples from different schools all over the state, and it's just a really good opportunity for us to collaborate and get new ideas. I feel like the best way to better us as a council is to go out and get new ideas and bring them back and implement them in the school, and the state convention is just one of those ways that we can do it at a very low cost and the way that helps improve us, but also builds team bonding and just grows our skills as a council and as individuals. So, thank you.
Thank you. Also, before we go, we want to thank you guys for giving us the time, and we want to thank Dr. Larson, Rick Davis, and Sarah Jennings, and our advisors for allowing us to be here today. So, thank you.
Do we have consensus to bring this back?
Yes.
All right. Moving on to item E. DHS AP Euro Italy field trip out of country travel request, also presented by Dr. Larson and Abby Hanlon.
Hi, I'm Abby Hanlon. I teach AP Euro at the high school. So my goal here today is to get an approval for students who take AP Euro to get to go to a summer trip to Italy. I would be June 1st through June 10th in 2026. This first started through the old AP Euro teacher, Ms. Wagner, who was actually my AP Euro teacher. It was supposed to be like a biannual trip every other summer. And so now that I'm the new AP Euro teacher, this is my 2nd year teaching, I'd like to keep that tradition going if I'm able. So I'm using the same travel company that she used before, Explorica. They have good insurance policies. I have a school board packet for all of you to see for questions about that. But this trip in particular to Italy was chosen by the students. I had students rank a series of 10 different cities in Europe, and they overwhelmingly chose Rome. And this particular trip, I chose it through this travel company because it identifies and goes directly with our course content. So we'll go to places like Rome, Venice, Florence, and we talk a lot about the Italian Renaissance, and we look at the art and the culture, which is something that's the kids get really, really excited about, and kids have shown to have a really big interest in that already. I sent out a Google form to students, and I've had 26 responses so far, but out of the 26, 22 have said that they are seriously considering it if it were to get approved, and I remind them that it's not approved yet, and I have even shown them the prices and the details, but they seem really excited about it in that sense. So for this trip in particular, like I said, it's from June 1st to June 10th. It's 10 days, and so the price that I'm going to tell you, that includes air travel, that includes on-tour transportation, accommodations, so hotels, that includes breakfast and dinner daily, entrance fees to the attractions we're going to do, the guided sightseeing tours, a tour director, 24-hour emergency services, and then also a tour diary where parents can see what students are doing from home as well. So it's a really neat opportunity, and I'm really excited about it. So for this trip in particular, there's also different insurance options for students to pick from. So their basic travel protection, it covers things like injury, sickness, illness, if they lose their passport. There's no visas needed for this type of trip because it's only 10 days. Flight cancellations because of strikes or bad weather, especially if we look at what's going on right now in terms of, air traffic control and whatnot. Loss of luggage, the basic plan has a very good protection plan when it comes to that. But then there is a plus plan that families can purchase individually where that is like a cancel anytime for any reason. So that is an option that students have in that. The total fee for this trip is $4,838. That is something that the students would be paying for. This trip doesn't cover transportation to the airport. I've been in contact with the old AP Euro teacher who did this before, and she said historically they've done carpooling, had students kind of figure out that transportation during parent meetings, and she said that's worked great, and everyone always gets there with plenty of time, especially when you're dealing with a trip of this size. Usually kids are gonna make sure they're there on time, especially with carpooling and whatnot. That's the total fee, but there are payment plans that are optional. So there's 6-month payment plans and other adjustments, and that's getting paid directly to the travel company. I'm not collecting any checks or anything like that. There is also fundraising support as well, though, because that was a big concern for a lot of students, which that's also a concern for myself, which is part of the reason why I chose this trip. It was one of the most affordable ones compared to the other extravagant ones they had, while also still relating to the course content. So you can set up your own personal fundraising page through Explorica. They have that option. They also have need-based support for certain qualifying families, which is all confidential through their own services. And the payment options are very easy, where they easily accept credit cards, donations from friends and family. So the students do have an opportunity to raise some of that money. I've personally looked into some other fundraising things that maybe we can do. This is this is my first time doing it, so fundraising was something that I'm still learning as we go, but it's something I'm looking more into down the line to make this even more affordable if it continues, if I'm able to get it off the ground. So, yes, that's what I got.
So since this is going through a company.
Yeah.
That 4838 is essentially locked?
Essentially, yes. And that price in particular, that was a part of like a special they were doing for the summer. And with the person I've been in contact with, they've extended that for board approval because it's supposed to end in September. I've talked on the phone a couple of times, and so they're extending that, at least in our situation, to get that locked down. If it doesn't get approved, then if you were to like go on their website right now and try to book a trip, the price is higher. But that is locked down. There is an opportunity for that to lower as well. The more students that sign up, the more that price goes down. And in this trip in particular, I chose this one as well because it's a guaranteed trip. So there's other schools or other people who have signed up to also go to Italy and do this tour. We have our own hotel rooms. The students are only they would only be staying with other students in school. They would not be rooming with anyone outside of that. But that also helped lower the cost as well because all of that stuff it's already planned essentially. So that's pretty locked down in terms of the price.
Any other questions? Do we have consensus to bring this back?
Yes.
Thank you. All right, DHS acapella trip request. Presented to us by Dr. Larson.
All right, good evening again. So we have DHS, I know, we have a lot of opportunities. It's amazing, especially growing our own with coming back, it's really great, so thank you. Only a couple more, everyone. So we have DHS Acapella is requesting an overnight out of state to attend the Acapella Festival in Port Washington, Wisconsin. It's not until April 10th, so it'll be April 10th to the 11th. The cost is $100, $45 of the registration fee is going to be, that's per student, and that's covered by our student class fees. So the remaining cost will be $50 to cover a portion of the hotel. The food will be requested by our music boosters, so it's really important that we have our boosters and our One Barb Athletic Foundation now to cover things like this. So this isn't until April. Anybody have any questions on this request?
Hearing no questions, do we have consensus to bring this back?
Yes.
All right.
All right, and the last thing from DHS, FFA National Convention travel request.
Great. Okay, so this one's a little different. This one's information and action due to the timely nature of this request. So the FFA National Convention, this is going to be October 29th through the 31st. This is our national convention where we have students that are going to attend with some FFA members as well as our leads. It's $375 per student. It's fully covered by the FFA chapter and the FFA alumni. So it's exciting to see that they're able to do this for our students, especially through our auction in the fall. It's always a good time. The advisors will be Sarah Peterson, Alex Turk, and Dana Anderson, and it's fully covered. Growing our own.
Have any questions? Hearing no questions, do we have consensus to bring this back?
We gotta vote on it.
Oh, it's
Sorry,
info action.
information
I did not see that
I
A.
did say that.
Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All right, Jackie, roll call.
Mr. Boyce?
Yes.
Mark Sherman?
Yes.
Nancy Bynum?
Yes.
Kristen Bailey?
Yes.
Nick Atwood?
Yes.
Steve Byers?
Yes.
Jose Jenkins?
Yes.
All right, thank you.
All right. Item H, which is info only. Northern Illinois University Speech Language Hearing Clinic Service Agreement presented to us by Director of Student and Family Services, Kyle Gertis.
Thanks. Red, green, colorblind doesn't help me.
Brown.
I know. All right, so this one isn't directly associated with DHS, but it could benefit DHS. That's my connection. So I'm actually excited to kind of talk with you all a little bit tonight about a kind of a new venture that we are entering into or hoping to enter into with NIU and their speech, hearing, and language clinic. As you all know, I'm occasionally up here in front of you talking about the need to fill an opening for an SLP. Sometimes we're able to hire for that directly. Sometimes we have to go find a contracted SLP through an agency and hire them at a higher rate per hour. We started engaging some conversation with NIU actually last year around some possibilities to partner with them to be mutually beneficial for us as a district and our students and families, but also for them as a graduate program to have their graduate students get hands-on experience in our district doing all the different things that our SLPs can do. And so what I'm presenting to the board tonight is a master service agreement with NIU that would run from approval when the board approves it through actually almost a 3-year period of time. What that allows us and NIU to do is to kind of predict what opportunities are going to be available for grad students from semester to semester for the foreseeable future. For us as a district, what we benefit is the ability as needed to utilize NIU for speech evaluations, evaluations that are more tailored towards autism, direct services within our schools, as well as other services that they could provide in regards to supporting meetings or attending IEP meetings or other types of meetings related to that. There is a charge to this, so I'm sorry, I totally forgot about screenings. Sorry, guys. Our pre-K and community-based screenings that our ELDC does a pretty heavy lift. That is one of our biggest child find opportunities that we have with our little ones. Our ELDC staff and SLPs are great, but they get pulled from their regular assignments to do those screenings, which does obviously pull them away from their other duties. So by allowing NIU's grad students to come in under supervision with some of our speech paths, it'll allow us to kind of maximize our resources. We do plan on utilizing the screenings, NIU for the screenings, as well as some evaluations when we have an SLP go out on maternity leave later on this school year. This is a more cost-effective way for us as a district to cover the needs when we're not able to fill them through a traditional hire. So for example, a 3-month, 12-week leave at about $130 an hour, which is the high end for a bilingual SLP, would cost the district around $58,000. Whereas we will be able to provide services to students and provide more people that can deliver services to more kids at a much more effective cost. So for all those reasons, I would like the board to consider the service agreement, and with that, I'll open up to any questions.
Quick question. You said it's a 3-year contract we're looking at, or?
Yeah, so it would go into place, obviously, once the board approved it, and it would run through June 30th of 2028.
Do you know the approximate total annual cost? I've seen the itemized cost, but what do you anticipate on a yearly basis?
It's a good question. So I guess I'm going to come back to probably a non-answer, which is how's our staffing levels look and what opportunities do we have during a year to provide additional coverage? I think every year we, don't quote me on this, but I think more years than not, we have at least one FMLA covered, leave to cover, and we don't normally know that until the individual tells us that they're going to be on a leave. The variable that we can predict is we're probably going to have difficulty hiring our SLPs in the future. So I can't give you an exact dollar amount because of those moving pieces. But what I do predict is that we're going to utilize for screenings for sure on a year-to-year basis and evaluations on an as-needed basis.
I just have a question about, is this preferable? It's preferable, it sounds like, to have somebody full-time in this position instead of, is it more cost-effective
So
to do that, or?
yeah, thanks for asking that question because I do want to have the opportunity to say we always want to try to hire our own SLPs, and that's not going to change. So if we have an opening, we're going to try and hire. If we're not able to hire for that position, this is a more cost-effective way of doing it than it would be to hire a third-party SLP that isn't directly hired through the district.
If we don't need these services, do we pay anything?
No.
I mean, if we are able to hire them in a wonderful world.
Correct, we don't. There's part of this where, we're entering that partnership with NIU, so I want to recognize that we're doing this to give their students an opportunity to learn and grow too. It's also a recruitment and retention strategy for us. A lot of our SLPs are former NIU students, so I do, and again, want to make sure we partner with them. I would live within the budget that I have to do that, and screenings is a place that I feel confident we can always go to them for.
All right, any other questions? Hearing no other questions, do you have consensus to bring this back?
Yes.
Thank you.
All right. So then we will move into the superintendent update, and then I will have a few things after her report to go over.
You know what that means, except he's got something after me, so it's gonna take us a little while longer. So did you notice that when Kyle said his budget, he looked at me? I'm just saying, okay? So I get that. But I wanted to start off with some great news. Donna kind of stole my thunder a little bit, Dr. Larson. Peter isn't here today, AD Golf, because he is over in McHenry with our girls flag football at the regional semifinals. And so this the girls flag football team. This is their second year, and they've done amazingly. They've been winning. They're champions. So go girls, power to the girls. So thank you so much for that applause. We got another young woman who needs to be some applause. So Amana Quinette Parker is now Dr. Amana Quinette Parker. We're gonna get all kinds of alphabets in this place, so we're gonna continue to do that. Congratulations to her. And then I'd like to be able to talk to you a little bit about thanking Walmart. So Walmart, we might not always give them the kudos they deserve, but Jackie Pringle went over to Walmart and spoke to the folks that be so that they could support some of our families, specifically our children that are at the middle school that needed some assistance with getting to school other than walking, and Walmart has donated some bicycles to them. So we want to shout out to Walmart. A couple of meetings ago, we had some conversation around the roundabout that we were going to be putting over at Clinton Rosette. And we've been talking with the city manager since then. And they've come up with a very innovative, more natural way of having that traffic area be safer without having to put a roundabout on there. And so I'm very grateful that the city manager has been very collaborative. The city's been very collaborative with us in having conversations. So I just wanted to make sure that we gave a shout out for the new configuration of that traffic flow on that corner that will continue to have the lights, the crossing paths, and no roundabout, but definitely a little bit of a change. So we're very excited about that. So thank you and kudos to the city for working with us. So yes, we want to give them an And here's the thing, I get really excited to see the kids come and present, because we have been trying a lot to get children to advocate for themselves at a lot of different grade levels. Maria, thank goodness, she's our third student board member that's been here. We're really excited about the kinds of things that she's bringing to the table. I can't wait to have my first advisory meeting with my mini board and see what they're coming up with. That's why I asked for a little teaser. But that's great. They also support the principal advisory at the middle schools, and then we hope to have something similar at the elementary schools. So we will continue to really get children to advocate not them for themselves, but also for the district as a total. So, that lunch that you had at DHS, the only reason you could have that lunch is because the kids said that it was time for a change. And it sounds like it's pretty good, isn't it?
It was
Yeah. So, you gotta give it up to the kids for all of the work that they do for us to support that. So that's it for me. Turn it back over to you. Have a
All
good
right.
evening.
So first thing to go over is the Triple I Conference is coming up next month.
I forgot something.
Oh,
Sorry. Jackie will get upset with me, and I'll be upset with myself. Because since 1990, the third full week of October has always been designated as Principal Week. And so we got one in the house here, and two. Well, and Donna, 3. Okay, I don't know how to count. This year, it is October 19th through the 25th, and Principal's Day is specifically on October 24th. So we invite you all to join us in honoring the hard work of all of our school leaders, even though I don't know how to count, and I've been looking at you all night. Thank you in advance, and then thank you to all of those out there that are listening, and we're really excited to be able to celebrate you and all of the hard work that you do for us. So thank you so much. Now,
okay. So the Triple I Conference is next month. That's going to be the Illinois Association of School Boards, Illinois State Board of Education, and the Illinois Association of School Administrators Conference in Chicago. I don't know if you guys remember, about 2 board meetings ago, you guys got a packet with a bunch of resolutions in it. I was supposed to remind you guys to review those resolutions so that the next board meeting, we can start to decide how we want to vote on the ISB resolutions and what the Illinois Association of School Boards are going to push as their priorities when they go to the Illinois State Board of Education. So if you guys still have those packets, make sure that you're reviewing them so that you can come up with a decision. If you misplaced those packets, since I forgot to tell you they're important, reach out to Jackie or I so that we can get you another copy of those. So that's for that. Next part is search update. So as I'm sure many of you have now gotten through Parent Square, your emails, social media, we have officially launched our superintendent search process. That first process is us sending out an email so that we can hear from all of you in the community, whether it's staff, parents, just community members, what you guys are looking for, and the next leader to go for our district. Now, this is only going to go until October 15th, so it's very important that if this is something that you're wanting to partake in, and actually I'll rephrase this, this is something that we really need you guys to partake in. It's really essential that you do and imperative. So I'm asking the principals that are here, talk to your staff members, members of our unions, reach out to your fellow peers to say, hey, this is important and it matters, so that we can make sure we get the feedback we need as a board to make decisions for what's going to happen within the next year. Now, on top of the survey, we have also launched a section on our website that just goes over the superintendent search, where things are at, and upcoming timelines. Now, just to give you guys kind of an update where we're at as of today, since that survey launched within the last week, we have already had over 270 responses from people in the community. So I mean, compared to, I'm sure you guys know, like the 5 Essentials survey, we're doing really good for survey responses so far. So just keep up that speed and tempo, guys. Besides that, that is everything from me. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All right.
All in favor, aye.
Yeah, all in favor.
Aye.
Amazing.
Thank you, everybody.